Okay, welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 ways that cultivating compassion helps you to develop spiritually. Okay. So, today I'm going to be talking about compassion. Compassion is a key proponent of many spiritual traditions and essentially, for cultivating happiness, cultivating joy, then this is a really important part of life. So I'm just going to be talking about why compassion is so powerful and why it's really important for us to cultivate this. And I'm going to talk about spiritual development. And in the next few weeks I'm going to be doing an online workshop talking about how to develop spiritually, even if you're living a busy life. And I'm going to be talking about how to cultivate, sustain, maintain a morning practice and an evening practice as well. And so if you'd like to find out more about this, please go to my Facebook page, which is Piers Cross Public, or visit my website at piers-cross.com. So enjoy. So the first way, first of all, just explain a little bit about compassion. So for me, compassion is being able to step into someone else's shoes. It's ability to empathize, to feel when someone's upset, angry, hurting. We can, rather than reacting and going, oh, why are they angry, and taking it personally, we can feel into them and go, maybe that person underneath the anger is hurting. Maybe under the rage or the hurtful action, there's something there. So that for me is compassion. And so the first way that I feel that it helps us to develop spiritually when we're feeling compassion is it helps us to open our hearts. I see that in the West, and I see this often by how we respond to Mother Earth, how we treat Mother Earth. It's with shut down hearts. And I feel as soon as we start to have compassion, we start to connect with, well, what do the animals feel? What do other human beings feel? What does Mother Earth feel? We respond very differently. We're going to think again about putting poison into the rivers, hurting others. So that's the first thing for me in the way that it helps us develop spiritually, is it helps to open our hearts. So the second way that it helps us to open to develop spiritually is helps us to stand in another's shoes. So in a Native American tradition, they talk about this thing of walking in another's moccasins, saying that until you've actually walked in someone else's shoes, you've lived someone else's lives, it's very difficult to judge them. And so that means that, if you see someone doing something wrong, rather than judging, hating, wanting them to be hurt, it's like, right, stepping into their shoes. And this is a really powerful way of developing spiritually. And this kind of leads into some of the other, these overlap, is once you step into someone else's shoes, that wish that may no harm come to them. Because you see, actually, that person's acting like that, but maybe they're hurting, and you see beneath that pain. That's the second thing, and this is key in relationships, is oftentimes we can be very insular, and we think, I'm right, the other person's wrong. But when you step into your partner's shoes and you go, maybe they're saying those words to me because they've had a bad day, they're hurting, and our hearts open again. So that's the second way. The third way is just talking about, I feel, that we connect to all beings when we're feeling compassion. When I look at the noble truths, the Four Noble Truths in Buddhism, the first one is talking about that there is suffering. It's not that I suffer or you suffer, it's like there is suffering. And when we are in compassion, we can really feel that connection to all beings, that may all beings be well. May all beings be free from suffering. And again, it helps me to see that actually they're no different from me. All beings, they want to be free from suffering. And that links me into the fourth point, which basically talks about, compassion helps us to move out of our ego. Our ego is, like I said, it's all about me. It's like, they're saying hurtful things. Compassion helps us to move into someone else's shoes, to not take things personally. And I see that in order to develop spiritually, then the ego is important, but we also need to step outside of it and to be able to open our hearts, to soften. And I've just been writing an article about this, which I will put onto my Facebook page in the next few days, is this ability in the second noble truths about there is, the reason for suffering is because of craving. So we're craving for something else. We want it. It's mine. And when we let go of that craving, we start to move out of it all being about me. It's like, well, others need things as well. So I hope that makes sense. I've lost my train of thought a little bit there. And the fifth point is to do with for me, the fifth way that cultivating compassion helps to develop you spiritually is to do with your pain. Sometimes we don't look at pain in the West. We don't want to go there. We don't want to acknowledge it. And actually, what I found with compassion is that when I don't dwell in my pain, but I just connect to it. I know what it feels like. And I make that wish that may no being feel and suffer the way that I've suffered. So when I just connect with that feeling. And when I see someone else either angry or hurting, and I can remember some of my painful experiences, I really make that wish that may I not add to their suffering. May I send them love, compassion, joy, rather than hatred, anger. And when I connect to what I've gone through, and I feel my own pain, it helps to transmute it. So rather than holding on to it, it's like, it just again opens my heart, and I can only feel love for that person they might be struggling in anger, but it just softens my heart, and it's like, I know what that feels like, and may they be well. So, just a few reflections helps you to open your heart, helps you to stand in someone else's shoes, helps you to connect to all beings, helps you to move out of your ego, and helps you to see that your pain in your life it serves a purpose, that you can really wish love to someone rather than anger or reacting. So please do, as always, comment below. I hope this makes sense, and if anything doesn't make sense, please ask questions. So many blessings. Have an amazing day. May you be well.